Today we have a very special guest with us, a self-improvement advocate, a cyber strategy consultant, a heavy lifter, meditator, and the love of my life. He is the most extraordinary human being I have met, and let us learn about his journey, his theories in life, and why he believes that purpose empowers passion. We are three friends who met in college and now are working in diverse fields across the globe, curious to know about what our friends are up to. So here we are, connecting, talking, and learning from our friends. In this podcast, we are sharing extraordinary insights from our not so ordinary friends, working in various industries, and sharing their stories and their journey so far. These are your hosts, Hiloni Punatar
Atit Kothari
and Tapan Desai.
and this is What the Hat. Subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss on any episodes. So, more than like what you are doing probably in your work, for me and for us, majorly most of our conversations have been more towards the side hustle. I believe I would call it a side hustle of yours, but more towards your fitness journey and how you have evolved as a person. I think probably being there for 4 years and understanding what you like, you dislike with the independence that you had, you've kind of reshaped uh, how your fitness outlook would be and what your beliefs have been. So let us know a little more about that.
Happy to share that for sure. That's definitely been an important part of my life. I think one thing that we don't talk about moving here for masters or just moving away from home is that you get a lot of it's very uncomfortable to start with, but eventually you learn a lot about yourself. You have that time to figure things out. Like staying away. I mean, when parents tell you that you like this and you dislike this, you sort of agree with that and you give into that. Like, I mean, I didn't know what I really liked or what I really didn't like. Just to start with that, right? So what I got after moving here was, a lot of clarity in thought, uh, and that definitely helped me learn things better and learn it the right way. So I'd been an obese kid. I think most part of my life. I think I was born close to 9 pounds, which is above average for an Indian baby. Fat, obese, however you want to say it, for most part of my life. And I have been a part of a lot of fads. I've done a lot of quick diets, lose 7 kgs in 7 days and shit like that, which is not sustainable. And I've done a lot of a lot of these workouts. I've done some marathons just to lose weight, but that wasn't the right way of doing it. I think what helped figuring things out on my own, learning through the right people, not just doctors, nutritionists, but also reading up things, reading white papers, reading about learning from. I definitely give a lot of credit to these influencers. Learning from all of them, it does help you learn what you like and how you can build a sustainable fit journey, like fitness journey for yourself.
Do you have a process of separating the signal from the noise? Because if you read so much, there's like conflicting opinion about everything, especially when it comes to food. Like, what is a good cholesterol? What is a bad cholesterol? Is butter better than oil? And there's so many debates all over. So, do you have certain processes that you follow to basically shortlist what you want to follow for your diet?
Yeah. So first, science is key. I think if I will not disagree with the fact that it's better to use something like ghee or just some healthy oil in as compared to vegetable oils, for a lot of reasons. I can go into details later, but science is science. Second is you need to understand what suits you. Meaning, like, olive oil is like a very recommended oil, right? But olive oil is useless when you are using it to cook it on high temperatures. So when you're cooking an Indian curry, right, or an Indian sabzi or whatever on a high like flame, and you use olive oil to cook it, it's not any better than like using vegetable oil, for example. So you need to find things from science, but try and suit it to what I think the way you want to live. Like, I mean, I eat like, I mean, I guess 70% of my meals or 60-70% of my meals are still Indian. So to make, to sticking to this cholesterol point, I will use ghee over olive oil in most of my recipes, because I know for a fact that you can't use olive oil on high flames or high temperatures. When I'm eating a salad, sure, I'll use some olive oil, with when I'm not cooking it. So
Right.
Science definitely, but also trying to understand how it fits you.
What does your what food look like? What are your meals like?
So first, I think all my meals are macro calculated. So the three last thing, right? Carbs, fats, and protein. I have a go. First of all, you need to have a goal. Like, where do you want to go? Do you want to lose weight? Do you want to gain weight? Do you want to retain the weight? I mean, do you want to stay at the weight that you want to be? There are going to be hundreds and millions of diets, but there's a simple logic. If your body needs 2,000 calories to survive with the current activity levels, if you eat 2,000 calories, you will stay the way you are. If you eat 2,100 calories, you will gain weight. If you eat 1,900 calories, you will lose weight. This is the basic logic, and this is all you need to know to get to your goal state. The next thing is I calculate macros. So I have, I know the amount of protein, the amount of carbs, and the amount of fats that I need to consume to be to reach where I want to be. So my goal last year in 2019 was to lose weight, right? To lose a lot of fat. So I was, adjusting my macros accordingly. And now, based on these macros, I will choose things that suit me. Like, dietary preferences, right? So I'm a vegetarian. So I know that I have a lot of, I have very limited protein sources. And every protein source, most vegetarian protein sources that you consume will also have some carbohydrates. So, how a balanced meal in our head looks like, it's some rice, some roti, some, sabzi, and some dal, right?
Yeah.
And we've always been told that dal is a protein. That's all you need. But dal also has a lot of carbs. So when you're eating roti and dal, or, rice and dal, you're eating the carbs from the rice, but you're also eating carbs from the dal. So you don't calculate the carbs in your dal and then you grow fat or you put on weight.
Right.
My meals when I'm trying to stick, when I'm not when I am, but because I'm on a vegetarian diet, my meals are only big portions of pulses, big portions of dals, big portions of paneer, just because I don't want to add roti or rice to my everyday. That doesn't mean I don't eat roti or rice. When there are days when I eat cleaner proteins, right, and that's when I can allow some extra carbs in my day. Then on that day I'll eat my roti or my rice. So you need to calculate those macro requirements for your bodies and the goal state that you're targeting, and you need to try and again suit it, and try and discover recipes that will give you a sustainable eating, that will help you build sustainable eating habits. Meaning, like, you can eat salads, or if you like eating salads for 7 days a week, sure, you can do that. But I mean, just because you want to grow, you want to lose weight, and that's why you are eating salads, that's not sustainable. You will not be able to sustain doing that for a long time. If your tongue needs Indian flavor, you need Indian flavor. So, I guess, you need to figure out again how it suits you and how you can make it more sustainable.
Right. So to calculate all the macros, do you use any tools? Any applications?
If you just Google bodybuilding.com macro calculator, the first link that appears, that's a great macro calculator.
I think for me, the major question would be, yes, sustainability is one of the most important things to get into this fitness journey. But also, sometimes what happens is you lose motivation on your way. And there are times where you do it for a while and then suddenly there are life events that happen and then you again get back to like an old routine of yours, and somewhere the motivation dies down. So like, what have you done to make sure that this has been more of a continual process and you have been continuously achieving some milestones throughout the journey?
So every time you give in to a temptation, remember that you are compromising on self-respect. Every time you win over a temptation, you are increasing self-respect. That's a part of your personality, right? So every time you want to eat, something unhealthy on your non-planned cheat day, you are giving into a temptation which will make you lose some respect for yourself. The feeling of guilt after eating that bad meal is losing some self-respect, is equal to losing some self-respect. When the day when you are really craving some chocolate but you stick to your planned meals, that's when you will gain some self-respect for yourself and you will become better, you will become stronger. And when there are always days, there are always weekdays, and that's when your discipline has to take over your temptations.
Okay, and like, how do you manage that? Like, you being a consultant as well, you travel so much. So how do you manage your meals and stay consistent, like with your, like, be disciplined with your diet?
Sometimes, when you're in these situations where you have to eat something that you didn't plan for, right? So, for example, if I'm in a client meeting and the client, orders lunch before even I knew, they were ordering, they'll
Brings in
probably order.
donuts.
Yeah, right. I mean, well, that you can avoid. You can just tell them that you're not eating sugar. But imagine like a meal, right? I mean, they're just ordering some pasta or some whatever, lasagna or whatever, like something very cheesy that you didn't plan to eat. Know that you've consumed enough fats for the day and adjust it in your meals, later in the day. And to be honest, if you go calculating your macros day by day, uh, it's good, but it's very hard to stick to that. So think of this as average weekly calories or average weekly macros. If there's a day in the week where you screwed up, don't worry, don't beat yourself up for that. Forget about it the next day, but make sure your following meals don't have a lot of fat component to them. The good part of traveling as a consultant is that you get to spend a lot of money, right? so you don't have to worry about how much your meal will cost. Well, most of the times. So, what I used to do, I'd find an Indian restaurant on Uber Eats or DoorDash. I'll order something like a paneer tikka or some chole. I'll order a salad from, any place like an Applebee's or whatever, like anything that's open, right? Anything around me, a salad, dressing on the side, throw away the dressing, and just mix the two things and eat it as a meal. So you have your fibers from the salad, you have your protein and your carbs from your Indian meal. I guess, I mean, that makes a complete meal. You also stay healthy, you also stay, on your levels. And one thing that everyone should buy, actually two things that everyone should buy, is a weighing scale for your body and a weighing scale for your food. Just for the 6 days that you are at home, the one day that you eat out, don't worry about it. Everyone has to cheat and everyone should cheat. Like, I mean, there are good meals for a reason. So you need to cheat, on the 7th day. But for the 6 days that you're eating at home, or at least try to eat at home, have a scale for your food and have a scale for your body.
I just went on the macro calculator on bodybuilding website. Yeah. First thing they asked me is to accept their privacy settings.
Wow. But I think, Prerak, for you, one has definitely been food and second has been a very disciplined workout regime. I mean, firstly, like how much do you believe is the balance of food and workout towards somebody's fitness goal? And also, like, how did you build up towards this is what is going to be my workout regime? Because all of us, like, at least for me, I have hopped on from being like doing Zumba and then doing aerobics, then doing gymming for a while, like hardcore strength training. Then again, going back to these like classes where there is like a different workout every day, picking up yoga in between. So I have continuously, like, I've been all over the place and I still do not know which is that one specific kind of workout that I love. I just know that I love variation in my workouts. But how have you been able to decide what works for you?
Yeah, so a couple of things here. First, I've started being okay with incomplete things. We don't understand this, but a lot of times why we don't do things in the first place is because we probably won't be able to complete it. Meaning, like, if you had planned to do a leg day today or like a chest day today, and you needed like an hour and a half for that, but you only have 1 hour because you have some work or you have some other social commitments, whatever, right? Don't skip the workout because you don't have enough time. Do the best of how much ever you can in the time you have. Like, be okay with doing an incomplete workout. Be okay with just doing a quick home workout if it has to. Like, but that day when you had decided to do a workout, make sure you get at least that 15 or 30 minutes in, just because you stay on track. It's the hardest when you lose that rhythm and when you have to get back to workout. When you take a 10-15 day break from working out, it's as good as like day one. Not for your body, but for your mind. It's so hard to go back. If you've been successful to set this rhythm or set this pattern, stay at it. Like, don't lose it. If you don't worry about incompleteness. Incompleteness is okay, but make sure you get that workout in. And the other thing why I do what I do for my workouts is because I think that's the only time in the day where I don't have to worry about anyone else. I don't like group sessions because I don't want to be competitive, because I'm being competitive at, in my work. I'm being competitive in just life, right? In general, like becoming better, doing, or just making more money, or you're just competitive every 24 hours a day. Those 2 hours of the day when you're working out, I just want my music or my podcast or whatever, and I want to be with myself. You don't get that time enough, and you don't spend time with yourself enough. I guess that's why I like the workouts that I do. Just being by myself and just trying to become better at it every day without anyone telling me what to do, or without any other parameters. If that helps.
Yeah, like consistency over intensity.
Yeah, absolutely what I meant. Very well put.
Okay, and then like you said, you've been on a disciplined workout routine since a year and a half at this point, right?
Yeah, almost a year and a half. Yes.
So like, what do you do when you have slip ups? Like, to explain my question, what I mean is, like, you worked out for 6 months, right? And you're working out consistently for 6 months, and then there is like 2 weeks or 3 weeks where you are on a vacation or something like that. You can't work out, or for you might be coming back to India from US and like you don't have access to the gym or something like that. Then after that, how do you go back to your routine? Like, how do you manage that? For me, I just give up after that.
Yeah.
Like, it's very difficult for me to do that.
I've had two kinds of vacations where I've even if it's a vacation, I've tried to work out at least those 30 minutes in the day. I think Hiloni agrees with that. I made a workout on our honeymoon every day. Like, we went to the gym every day on our honeymoon. But yeah, there are definitely these other days, other vacations where you just don't want to work out. I think it's a mental game from there. Like, coming back, that's what I said, right? It's very hard. Like, when you break that pattern, it's very hard to come back. But it's all about that discipline, man. I mean, that goal state. It's important how important that goal is to you. If you wanted to be in a particular shape, or weigh a particular pounds, or just become better, or like build more muscle, or whatever your goal is, right? So that if that goal is more important than that watching that Netflix documentary or that Netflix series, I think discipline should take over, and you just need to force yourself to get back. It'll feel terrible. Like, that first day of workout never feels good. I don't know why. Like, I mean, it just doesn't feel good. Like, you'll feel like you want to stop halfway. You'll feel like you don't have any energy. You feel like I'll probably do it tomorrow because I have some work. You'll make things up for yourself, but you need to remember that you've spent 6 months doing it, or a year doing it, and I need to get back. Otherwise, the 2 hours I spent every day the past 1 year is all useless.
So from your response, I'm gathering that I just lack the discipline. Yeah, and I like Prerak, I've talked to you about this as well. Yeah, when you came in December, I was so impressed, and I'm still impressed. Like, the way you have lost the weight. I think you are at a medium right like now, and you were XL or something like that before. Like, the shift, and it's very visible. and you had to like get your clothes also tailored right after you came back.
I had to throw a lot of clothes, but I got to buy a lot of new clothes. But it's fun. I mean, it's been a good year, and I wish. I mean, I'm saying all these things, but I wish that I can be in discipline forever as well, because it feels good. It feels rewarding. There's this is that one thing that will make you happy every day.
Yeah, and for you, like, what do you do? Like, you work out in the morning, or like it's in the evening, or after work? Like, what's your time?
I prefer to work out in the evening, just because I feel more energetic after I have a couple of meals, and also because another reason I don't work out in the morning is because I fast until 2 p.m. I don't eat food until 2 p.m. So if it's a small cardio workout, I'll do it in the morning. But if it's a proper lifting workout, I prefer to do it in the evening, just because I have some energy with the food that I've had through the day.
Yeah, I agree. Like the intermittent fasting has changed the way I eat also. Like I since given up, but I was going to get married. That was my main motivation. That is when I learned about intermittent fasting, and it was amazing. Like it's difficult in the beginning, but once that cycle switches to keto, you feel much lighter. You feel much fresh.
So, I mean, mornings, I feel more active. I feel my focus is better. There are so many benefits, man. I can't even like start talking about it.
And I love the line that you just said a few minutes back. This is the thing that will make you happy every single day of your life. That itself is a good enough motivation to start eating.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. And one other thing, Tapan, how I stay in discipline. I think we spoke about this before, but I'll repeat this for you, for the others. I've started, having this one person who I will train with no money, nothing, like no reward for me. Just I want to how someone helped me transform, right? A lot of these people helped me transform. So many trainers, so many influencers. I want to be able to keep giving back and helping people get to their goals. So there will always be this one person who I will help with diet plans, or not diet, but I mean, I don't like to use the word diet, with just, what to eat, how to work out, how to lose weight, things like those. I mean, I always have this one person who I'm helping constantly. So I helped my sister, I think end of last year. I'm working with another friend right now. I just, made his diet plan, I think a couple of hours ago. I sent it over to him. So I guess that's a very rewarding activity. And if you are that person who is promoting fitness, or who is promoting being healthy, you will have to be healthy. And I guess, I mean, there's no point in being accountable. I mean, sorry, not no point, but there's a lot of value in just being accountable for being fit. Just tell 10 people that you're going to start, being on a diet or start working out. Just tell 5 people, 10 people, whoever you're close to. I use my social media, well, sure, for writing about my workouts or my nutrition or whatever, but I do it more to be accountable. There are 1,000 people who follow me, and they know that I'm on this journey, and if I fail, I'm accountable to those 1,000 people in my brain, and that keeps me more on track.
Yeah, social pressure.
Yeah.
It definitely works for a lot of people. It works for it might not work for some. Like it definitely worked with me. I wanted to build a reading habit, and I started posting like a book a week on when I was using social media, and it definitely I was able to maintain that habit for 15 weeks, and after that it's just a lifestyle.
Exactly. It goes on automation after that.
Yeah.
Okay, so getting back to your fitness journey, so like what are some like myths that you debunk, like 2 of them, 3 of them, any examples that you give, like some advice that is widespread, but you observe them like not working out and you find a way around those myths?
Yeah. Number 1, breakfast is the most important meal of your day. So wrong. I mean, it's a very, I mean, if you go back to history of things, I think it started when these cereal companies wanted to sell. It was a great marketing gimmick. people, they started promoting the whole idea of breakfast just because they wanted to sell, cereals. Because I mean, that's what, cereals come to your head. That's the first thing that'll come to your mind, right? When you think about breakfast, that's what they were promoting. So breakfast is not important. The timing of your meals is not important. So, if you go back to just ancient science, right, with so many religions, uh, every religion has this some form of intermittent fasting, right? Starting with do waqt ki roti, right? Do waqt ki roti meant 12 hours differences, 12-hour difference between your two meals. 12-hour is the start of that starvation period for your intermittent fasting. So that is do waqt ki roti. Ramzan, right? I think we are in that month right now. Uh, Eating after sunset and eating until sunrise. So that's another form of intermittent fasting. The Jains follow Chovyar, which is eating till sunset and fasting until sunrise. That's another form of. I mean, every religion had promoted intermittent fasting in some way, and these companies started selling breakfast as an idea. The other things is whatever diet plans, whatever you follow, it's fine. Just remember one simple rule of losing weight is caloric deficit. There is no better way to lose weight. You just need to remember the input versus output. And if you have more input as compared to your output, you will gain weight no matter what. No matter if you eat salads for every meal in the entire year without a cheat meal, you will not lose weight if you're eating more than if you're eating that salad with that ranch dressing which has a lot of calories. If your body needs 2000 calories to maintain, you have to eat 1800 or 1900 to start losing weight. You will not lose weight irrespective of the diet you follow if you're not in a caloric deficit.
For calorie deficit, like where do you start? Like how do you know what's your maintenance calorie?
So like this macro calculator, there are a lot of calorie calculators. Calorie is a large picture, right? It's a large picture. It's what the macros make together, like the number of macros you consume. So the rough way of calculation is every gram of carbs and protein. Every gram of carbs and protein is approximately equal to 4 calories. This is a very rough calculation. This is not true for a lot of things. And every gram of fat is about 9 calories. So this is how, your macros make your calories. So if you just like Google again, right, any calorie calculator, calorie requirement based on your weight, height, activity levels, we'll find a lot of sources. And it's simple science. So makes sense.
Also, another question, were you able to convince your parents that breakfast is not the most important meal of the day?
I still struggle to date when I go back home. But to be honest, I've been able to make them do intermittent fasting in some way or the other. So my mother has been fasting 12 to 14 hours a day every day, I think since the last 1 year almost. I think I was able to convince them with the whole idea, just knowing the other benefits, right? I mean, starting intermittent fasting helps you with your insulin spikes. So things like a lot of things that a lot of Indian parents suffer with, right? Diabetes, cholesterol, bad immunity. These are things that improve with fasting. So I was able to sell them on the idea of that. It was hard, to be honest. It's still hard at some days, when they really want me to eat something. But sometimes give into those things and adjust your eating window, later in the day. So when a big meal is coming up and it's not based on your fasting times, try and change your fasting routine the day before. So I remember, I guess, the day, I think this was one of the wedding events that we had. I knew that I had to have a big meal at night, so I fasted through the entire day, and I just had that one big dinner meal. That was outside my fasting window, but sure, right? I fasted through the day, so I adjusted my calories, and I adjusted how much food I wanted to eat. But I also made everyone happy, for the lack of a better word, by eating what they wanted me to eat.
Moving on, your marriage to Heloni, congrats. I was there. It was super fun. I really enjoyed it. Enjoyed the time there. So like, has life changed after your marriage? What are new things that you're learning, and like what are your guys' plan going forward? Hiloni, you can contribute to this as
Yeah,
well.
I was going to say Hilary and Prerak get this together, but it's been amazing, dude. I think the the time when you're approaching your marriage, meaning like marriage as in like not the relationship, but marriage as in the event. When you're approaching the event, that's when you start introspecting on a lot of things. Like you go through this very weird phase in your life where you start thinking about everything from is this the right person to to these weird ass things like am I really straight and am I meant to be with a woman, right? I mean, it's weird. We go through introspection, which helps, like which really helps, which builds a lot of clarity. And I think I'm really happy with the whole idea of marriage and the yeah. I think my marriage with Iloni, because it just I think it helped us. We've been together for like more than 10 years, and I think this helped us deepen our bond, which we thought, I mean, is impossible because we've been together for, and we literally knew so much about each other, but I think we're discovering more, and I think that's marriage. About things that have changed, things did change immediately after marriage, but unfortunately, because of this whole COVID situation, we are stuck again in this long distance relationship. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Iloni moving here and starting that new life together.
Yeah, I think for me, Prerak has always been a sounding ball for anything and everything that I wanted to do in life, and that's that's where for me it has been like a very strong bond. And I think these fundamentals, like our friendship, the way we communicate, and all of these things are beyond like definition of a relationship. They have always been there, and they are just growing with time. Like Prerak said, like there are still days where we discover new things about each other, and we're like, oh my god, we know each other from. By the way, we know each other from 12 years now. It's not 10. It's gonna be 12 this second May. But yeah, so 12 years now, and there are so many exciting things that we probably want to do together. So it's more of a journey, and marriage was one of the milestones in between. And one thing that I know for sure, like for us, for any couple, like right before your marriage, probably like the craziest version of you comes out. And
Yeah.
if you deal through that with each other, like even with yourself and your families, like everyone around you is just going crazy, and the way you handle that situation probably defines how well are you going to take care of this throughout your life. So those are like the testing times, and I think once you sail that one ship at a time, you would be like flourishing ahead.
Okay, that's interesting. I can't add to this. Atit, maybe you can add.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like when you go through the whole marriage process with someone, it is a very special, very different. You definitely you form a bond that is unique, you know.
Yeah.
And it's not unlike any other bonds. Even if you know that person from a very long time, it's just the I don't know. It might be the setting, especially the Indian marriages. They're so grand that it adds more to what it already means.
Newton said, "If I have seen the future, it is by standing on shoulders of the giants." We bring to you these giants in the life of our guests. Our next segment is Top 3, a curated list of top 3 recommendations from our guests.
I've realized you've started reading more based on your social media. So, like, what are your top 3 book recommendations, and like, what is one book that you would be or you are gifting the most to people?
Yeah, so to be honest, I'm not the best person to give this top 3, just because I'm developing this habit of reading. I'm not the most avid reader, but I definitely would love some advice on next books to read. But I guess the book that has stuck with me the most right now is 21 Lessons for the 21st Century by Yuval Noah Harari, and it's because it's so real. It's because every like your approach to life has to change with time, and the challenges change with time. And I think that book does a great job at just explaining what the current situation is and how do you make the best of the current situation. I mean, things like wars, or things like people hating each other on basis of religion, these things are not going to go away. But how do you navigate this and live your life the best way? I think that's what I take away from that book. And I guess, I mean, I'll restrict myself to that one recommendation because I don't read a lot of books.
Like any articles or blogs?
I listen to a lot of is podcast recommendation on this list. Are you all promoting competition?
Yeah, definitely podcast as well.
More like inspiration for us.
Yeah, so I listen to Joe Rogan a lot. I love how conversational that podcast is, and I love how conversational this podcast is as well. It's you're listening to it for like 2 hours, 3 hours, or sometimes he has some 5-hour episodes as well. You don't have to pick up everything. You don't have to like it's not like that 10-minute NPR podcast where you have to record everything that they say because that's knowledge. Here you're catching on random things at random times through that conversation. You are learning, even if you take away like these 5 things from that entire podcast, it's a great podcast. So I really, really recommend, Joe Rogan Experience as a podcast. I think in terms of other podcasts, I listen to some, I don't know if you guys heard about Kara Swisher. She has this podcast, Recode Decode. Her podcasts are usually these tech companies and the people from these tech companies, like, and she's always criticizing Mark Zuckerberg, but whatever. There's a lot to learn, from that podcast as well, just in terms of privacy of your data, just how technology is evolving, how these companies are moving, how tech companies are making money, their revenue models, everything about tech companies. So I love that podcast as well. And I listen to, I'm sure all of you guys know Ranveer via Biceps, right? So I think he's done a great job at building what he's building. And it's I connect with his podcast the most because I've known that guy, we weren't the closest of friends, but I've known that guy, and I've seen him change through his social media, and I think that's how I think of myself as well, like growing every day, becoming better every day, and that's what he tries doing, and continuously keeps evolving. So I listen to his podcast. I think it's called The Ranveer Show, if I'm not wrong. So I listen to that. That's pretty relatable as well. Just from the background that I come from.
Any movie, TV shows?
TV shows. I guess. I mean, TV shows in terms of fun, yeah, sure. I watch some fun shows, I guess. But in terms of, I don't know, for value add, I don't know if I can comment on TV shows as such. But I love the most recent show that I watched that I really, really loved was the Ozark. I finished watching Ozark, I think, day before yesterday. It's it's an amazing show. And I love Jason Bateman. So that's another reason. Yeah. That's another reason why I'd recommend that. And apart from that, I guess
I think The Office you would keep saying.
Yeah, I love The Office, but I mean, again, not a lot of value add, but good, great humor. I love comedy. So my idea of TV or like just movies or watching sitcoms is different. I don't watch it to learn anything. That's my time of not thinking. That's my time of just laughing. That's my time of relaxing. So not a lot of recommendations when it comes to like value add as such.
Unlike the name, we are dwelling deep into our guests' thought process. Rapid Fire is our next segment where our guests will answer some quirky, some weird, but mostly fun questions.
what advice would you give to a smart-driven college student about to enter the real world, and what advice should they ignore?
I think for the advice to give, just know. I think I'll stick back to I'll sort of loop back to what I said earlier about know what you don't like, and just be okay with the idea of knowing what you don't like rather than finding what you love. And about ignoring the advice, you don't need the best start to your career. You just need to know. You just need to have the ability to figure out. You'll figure it out, and if you have the if you have the ability to figure out, you'll do great. Don't worry about starting at the best.
If you could invite 3 people for dinner and have a chat with them, they could be living or dead, and could be fictional, non-fictional, anyone. Like, so who would those people be? Like 3 people, and why would they be?
I'd love to, just given how I'm currently obsessed with him, I love to have Joe Rogan. I'd love to meet him. I'd love to talk to APJ Abdul Kalam if I had the opportunity to. The great APJ Abdul Kalam. I've read a lot about him, about his books. And I guess just again, looping back to the third person, looping back to, how I'm loving reading the books and the articles by him. Yuval Noah Harari has a great perspective to life, very unique perspective to life. And more than that, he just, a lot of us have thoughts, but we don't articulate it the best way. I'd learn to love that from him.
So if you had a gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, what would it say and why?
I'll write purpose empowers passion.
Oh, I thought it would be mind, body, soul for some reason, or that thing of yours, Vartan, Vani, Vichar.
Yeah, that's a future tattoo for me. Vartan, Vani, and Vichar. Yeah, but yeah, the 3 words that I definitely live by. I won't say I live by that 100%, but I try to live by Vartan, Vani, and Vichar.
What does Vartan mean?
Behavior.
Oh,
behavior,
okay.
Speech, and thoughts.
Okay, so next question. So, what's your favorite purchase that you have made, which could be under $1,000 or approximately, no, not $1,000, $100 or approximately 5,000 rupees?
5,000 rupees? I'll say even lesser than that, even cheaper than that. I'll just say my weighing scale.
Okay.
$10. $10 is all you need. Amazon.com.
Our next segment is called Not the Onion, presenting 4 news articles that are mind-blowingly ridiculous that they could have been written by The Onion, a satirical news company. However, one is a fake article created by us. You have to guess which one is not The Onion.
So let's start. So the first article is from California. It says skate park filled with sand to enforce social distancing backfires. So what happened was California officials closed a popular skate park and filled it with 37 tons of sand in hopes of keeping residents away during the pandemic. But what ended up happening is a lot of dirt bikers came and they started dirt biking in the skating rink, and that backfired at the Californian officials, and they are now working on a solution to that problem. Okay. The second one is British soldiers are to be injected with insect repellent as part of COVID-19 protection. So British armed forces are to be given insect repellent to protect them against COVID-19 infection that has emerged, and the World Health Organization has commented on this, saying there is no evidence that the virus can be transmitted by mosquitoes and that an insect repellent would themselves be ineffective. Third one, Japanese mayor says men should grocery shop during pandemic. So the Japanese mayor suggested that men should grocery shop because women take too long and contribute to overcrowding at supermarkets. he said that men can quickly grab what they're told to buy so they won't linger at the supermarket, and that would avoid close contact with others.
That is so sexist.
Yes. And then finally, Auroville suggests that there are 0 cases due to collective consciousness. So the secretary of Auroville, which is an experimental town in Tamil Nadu and Pondicherry in India.
Pondicherry, yeah.
Yes, has suggested that there are 0 cases in Auroville due to the collective consciousness of its citizens, and also the protection provided by the Matri Mandir, which is like the temple of the mother in their village. So those were the 4 titles or headlines that I found online. So like you guys have to guess which one is the fake one. Prerak, you can start.
So I think Tapan, we follow a lot of similar people on Twitter. So I know some of these are genuine. So I think from the ones that I don't know, I think the second one, the British Army one, seems to be fake.
Okay. Hello.
I think the Auroville one, probably. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I think that one.
Okay.
I think the injection one, I think all governments are doing it, with Trump also saying inject yourself with Lysol. I think it can be possible.
Okay. And then Atit.
So I know like Japan has issues with sexism.
Yeah.
So that is true. And I'll probably go with the insect repellent.
Yeah.
Insect repellent as well. Okay, so Hiloni is correct actually. The British government, yes, they indeed said that the British soldiers will be injected with insect repellent. So that is yeah.
I think the world is going crazy.
Yeah, and I personally thought this was fake news that like is being sold as real news, but then I actually went on multiple news sources to just check it out, and it is true. So I think that was it, Prerak. We had a really good time talking to you and learned a lot.
Yeah, this was fun.
And personally speaking, like I know you and we've talked a lot, but this was at a different level, I think. And I personally really enjoyed it. So thank you for coming on the show.
Absolutely, dude. Loved it. Loved every bit of it. Thank you for the opportunity. I hope everyone loves listening to it as well.
So that's about it, folks. We will be back next week with another guest and another story. We would love to hear your thoughts about the episode. Feel free to reach out to us on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. You can just search What the Hat Podcast. Also, subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Castbox, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcast from, so you never miss out on the next episode. This is Hiloni, Atit, and Tapan signing off, and this was What the Hat.